Hello. Now, I think I showed you when I first unwrapped the Chronicles of Weatherby from the Teachers Book Club. This book, I have now read it and I love it, and I can't wait to read the next instalment. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you. Oh, as we go past my signed book plate, the inscription: "For my sister Hester, I built a magic school for you." And I think this really sums up some of the frustration a lot of us have felt after the power that Harry Potter caught in our culture. Don't you just love a book with a map? I think the Hogwarts caught the imagination of a whole generation of children, and in many ways this story meets the needs of those of us who have been so heartbroken by by the rampant transphobia of J.K. Rowling, and also addresses some of the things that made many of us feel uncomfortable even when we first read the Harry Potter books. Now, to full disclosure here, I was an adult when I first read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Interestingly, it was a book that I had come across whilst doing supply teaching, and had a chapter to read, and I went, "Oh, I like this. I'm going to have some more of this." It reminds me of The Worst Witch, which I devoured as a child, which very much, I think Harry Potter was much more grown up version, much more middle grade version of The Worst Witch, which was very much sort of chapter books. So, here is a new magical world set on the island of Weatherby, and it's the story of a pair of twins, Juniper and Rafferty, who come from Honeyvale in a little village, and their journey of discovery, as Juniper is identified as being an enchanter, having all 4 seasons magic, and Rafferty finds his season and has to kind of make sense of his own magic. Now, Thistledown Academy for Enchantment, I'm sure you can see here, it's just very much in that classic British public school feel, but I think there's some really nice little features of it that really make it wholesome, I think. And it starts: "Once upon a time, or maybe it was a time that has not yet come to pass, or perhaps even at this very moment, there was an island called Weatherby." I think that's lovely. And the whole story is placed within a framework of a grandfather telling stories to his grandchildren. And this is framed as the first chronicle of Weatherby. And we start with Juniper and Rafferty preparing in their family's bookbindery. There are not a lot of pictures, but then I'm going to see if I can show some. That's the one. Now, this picture, with the stagecoach is how Juniper is taken to Thistledown Academy, and the events that happen at the inn involving the Alfaro bulbs change her relationship to her magic and really influence the whole story. Because of course as in any good story, there is the conflict, and the conflict is between those who have a single season magic with a limited magical power and the enchanters who have the ability to weave in the magic of the world and make more exciting things happen. Now, you can see there's definitely quite a sensibly chunky middle grade book. I think probably at 9 or 10 I would have eaten this up. You know. Now, magpies. I'm not going to be. I don't want to be too spoilery, but I want to show you the wonderful magpie who becomes part of the story, and another feature of the story is that Tangles, that is enchanted creatures, can be created as magical creatures, and they're kind of the really positive magical creatures. But you also find out about some magical creatures that are far less positive. Now, Rafferty finds himself following Juniper, his twin, to the capital, but ends up as an apprentice in a bookbindery. Their family are bookbinders, where he and his friend Jesse start to find out that things are not as peaceful or as calm in the city as they have seen, and this changes Rafferty as well. I think one of the really interesting things in this is that it is about twins that start off as closest friends and find their lives going in very different directions, which they then have to make sense of. And once they have both grown and experienced things, that's when they come back together as a very powerful team. This is very much a story about growing in many senses. Here, this illustration, I don't think it contains any big spoilers, where we have the Queen Mirabelle. So again, we've got quite a hierarchical society, but then Thistledown Academy itself is very egalitarian. There's, I felt like it was almost very deliberately quite different from Hogwarts, in that it is stated that there are no servants, and that let's see if I can find it. Here's where Juniper has first arrived. Now, I thought I could tell you a little more about the housekeeping of our school as you eat, she smiled. This is Acantha, the head teacher. Her hands wrapped around a mug of sweet-smelling fruit tea. A very important thing for you to understand is that we all take care of ourselves and each other. That is foundational to how the academy works. As I mentioned last night, you are responsible for your own room. We expect you to keep it clean and tidy, and will provide everything you need for you to do so, including advice should you ask for it, and time. So, there aren't any servants? Zinnia said in confusion. Obviously, one of the other interesting things is you've got children from very different communities coming together, including Zinnia, who's a quite spoilt, rich kid. No, Acantha says seriously. There are people who work here at the school, but we exercise no control over their lives, and they are paid fairly for the work they do. They are not here to make your life easier or to do your bidding. You will be joining in with various tasks. Perhaps now is a good time to give out the timetables for your first term. Which, again, is interesting compared to Hogwarts, where things just happen in the first book, and in the second book you start to find out about the slave class, the house elves. And I think it's very deliberate that there is no underclass like that within this book, within this world. And I wonder if I can just find the bit about the school subjects, because I think it was actually in one of the interludes, in one of the bits where the grandchildren are talking. See if I can find it. Oh, there's Rafferty at the bookbinders. What is very noticeable is that they are expected to study normal subjects. The subjects listed are letters, numbers, history and geography, gardening, cooking, needlework and enchantment. All of the magic was apparently contained in one subject. They would study 3 times a week. There were also sections blocked out for personal study and chores. However, as the story continues, we start to see that how through learning their practical subjects, the children are learning about how magic works and how the world works. I think it's such a well-crafted world, and I'm just a little bit in love with it. I would say it's... Oh, here's the picture of the night market. So you've got these different worlds. You've got the night market, which is dark and sort of Neverwhere-ish. It's a busy city underworld, which is compared to the kind of bright light world of the school, where students are treated as responsible and expected to behave responsibly. But I must say, this is one of the best children's fantasy that I read for a long time. I think Anna James has actually stepped possibly. It's hard to acknowledge that Anna James, who has also has another series, The Book Wanderers, which kind of has the same magical feel to it, but this feels much more grown up, and it feels like it really has the makings of a classic. I think there is no world of magic that doesn't have holes, and I'm trying to think what the holes are in this world, but actually, as you read it, you don't feel them. Yeah, I think it is both beautifully crafted book. I love the illustrations. So, oh, also worth mentioning, whilst thinking about representation, there the physical descriptions of characters are explicit about characters not being all white in a really natural, non-pushed way. I don't think there's a lot of representation of disability. I can't think of any disabled characters. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But it feels like a very fair world where human differences are noticed but not picked out. And I liked that. And definitely, this is one of the books that I'm really pleased to add to my shelf, and will be reading the following installments of the series as they come out. So, Hannah James, get writing. But thank you so much for listening to me whittle on about just one book that I've really enjoyed. And if you enjoy listening to me whittle on about books, or if you just want to see some of the things that I've been reading, or even a new series I've just started is I'm exploring doing some reading aloud. So I've started reading aloud from What Katie Did. So which is, yeah. So check that out if you enjoy just listening to stories. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 should be out soon. But thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.